What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Gaming Channel. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? We are back once more with the weekly show. I believe this is episode 123. I got it right this week, unlike last week. So, Samori, you don't need to give me shit in the comments. No, if you're new to this program, basically what I do, I sit here, I gather news from around the web regarding the video game industry, yada yada yada. We sit here, I give my takes. We read articles. Hopefully, we have some fun. Have a couple yucks. This week got a shitload of gameplay. I mean, we got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Doom Eternal, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the big one, Red Dead Redemption 2. All playing for this. Got a couple articles. We also got apparently some details on the game The Quiet Man coming from Square Enix. If anybody remembers that, it was kind of shown at Square Enix's little showcase at E3, but really we didn't find out anything about the game. So I have a short article on Destructoid about that. There's almost like an hour and a half long video on YouTube about it. The problem is it's in Japanese with no subtitles, so we can watch it, but it's not really much we can glean from that unless you can speak Japanese. Anything else? No, that's pretty much the main ideas. As always, links to everything I talk about will be in the description below, along with timestamps so you can jump around if maybe there's a topic that you're not too terribly interested in. You want to hop on to just go straight to one of the gameplays. So yeah, we're gonna kick things off with an article on IGN, and yes, I know, excuse me, people are going to be asking the whole Dead Cells review thing. I mean, there's a Dead Cells review done by Brendan Tyrell, which is odd to me because I've actually liked his writing. I didn't take him for a plagiarizer, if that is the review in question. I mean, I generally don't read reviews just because since I write my own, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna. It's like why I don't listen to a lot of podcasts anymore on games, just because I'm always afraid I'm gonna accidentally do something like that and copy takes unintentionally. But I'm always afraid I'm going to do something like that. My overall opinions on this, without getting too far into the whole controversy, it's why I didn't want to do a whole story on it, was IGN did the right thing, pulled the review. The writer should be, I don't want to say go after him and attack him, but I do think it is worth saying, look, he did a shitty thing that isn't okay in this in any journalistic entity or industry. It's not okay to do shit like that. But again, I'm not saying go out and blow up his Twitter feed. But you know what I'm saying. I think people saying that what he did was a shit thing to do is well warranted. So yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything beyond that. That's why we're not talking about it. But either way, after that weird aside, article on IGN, article by Adam Bankhurst. Fallout 76 beta will be the full game and progress will carry over. Excuse me, jeez. Sorry, I chugged the Mountain Dew trying to wake up this morning to do this. When Fallout 76's beta break it early test application arrives in October, it will be the full game and any progress made will carry over into the launch version. Revealed in the Fallout 76 beta FAQ, Bethesda states that the, and I quote, current plan for the beta is it will be the full game and all your progress is saved for launch, end quote. The FAQ also notes that there will be no NDA, so players will be able to discuss, post screenshots, stream, etc. when they begin playing. I'm thinking about trying to get access to this beta. I'm not, okay, so the beta arrives in October. Because from what I've seen, the beta is given to access. You can get a beta code, but you have to pre-order the game. Usually I pre-order games like a week ahead of time. It just helps me keep track of what's releasing, what I'm doing for the channel. So I might do an early pre-order for Fallout 76. Now I've been very hesitant on Fallout 76, and it's not necessarily because it's Bethesda. It's not because it's Fallout. It's all because of these. I forget what they're called. I forgot what I've been calling them. I usually call them games as service, but there's these kind of live games. Stuff like Anthem that's coming out. Stuff like The Division. The Crew, yada yada yada. Although I did enjoy The Crew, I just didn't really see what the point of having all the multiplayer stuff was. That game could have been a strictly single player street racing game and been just fine. Either way, that's not neither here nor there when we're talking about Fallout 76. Now these games, I feel like we're getting too many of them. I feel like the market's being oversaturated with them. And also, I'm really weirded out by companies that, in my opinion, don't do these kind of things on regularly. Companies like BioWare with Anthem or Bethesda with Fallout. They're taking a game and they're trying to... At least with Anthem, it's going to be it's an original IP. With Fallout, they're taking a really big IP, something that I absolutely love, and now they're trying to, in my opinion, shoehorn in this live aspect. And I've always thought this about these live games, is I'm afraid that they're going to take IPs that I absolutely love, because I'm a story guy, I'm a narrative guy, and just completely everything's going to be this way. I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of it with EA being EA. But, I mean, we're seeing it in just the way stories are being told now are massively changing with what I call more of an open style. If you look at something like Far Cry 5 that dropped recently, it had a very similar, not a similar thing. It was, like I said, this open storytelling technique where it's, we're going to give you these three areas of the map to play in. You can go to any of them, do the story in any order that you'd like. It just, to me, it feels like, and then we're also going to make you the protagonist, so the character is not going to have any voice, and it's just, it feels lazy. The story doesn't have any weight or the emotional connection that I think the story had. Otherwise, I mean, I'm playing Far Cry 3 right now, and I think that game is so much better in terms of narrative. I mean, this isn't new opinions, and yes, I'm kind of branching out from Fallout 76 to my overall problem with the industry at the moment. It's just this way that they're telling stories in these kind of games like Fallout 76. I think they're trying to do these games in a way that it's like, oh, well, if we don't have a defined story, we're going to keep people playing them, kind of like an MMO. And I kind of sit here and go, but that's... There's a reason there's only like one big MMO at a time. I mean, there's always some smaller ones. I mean, we got Black Desert. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV was big for a little bit. But I mean, mostly it's WoW, and that's about it. I mean, that's how the MMO market, as far as I can see, works. I mean, some of these multiplayer games, because they require consecutive, concurrent logins, and especially when you're buying in the expansions and everything, there can't be tons of them on the market. One of them is going to survive and the others are going to die. I see it's an odd thing to do for the market. They see it, I'm going to guess they see it as a way to make money continuously after launches, as opposed to just releasing something with a good story that you spend $60 on and that's it. I just have a problem with it. And the open storytelling technique, that's we want people to... Yeah, it's some artistic bullcrap about, we want people to craft their own stories and craft and shape the narrative. I'm like, the way that GTA did it works, where we're going to give you 8 missions that you can kind of complete in any order, but at some point we're going to funnel, they're all kind of part of little mini storylines that are going to touch into this overarching narrative, and at certain points we're going to funnel you to main story plot lines with like something like Far Cry 5 again, for example. It's kind of like we took 3 different narratives, all 3 of the seed children and then the head cult leader. It's kind of like we have 3 storylines that are all running parallel to each other that then kind of come together. Then you fight Joseph Seed, and that's the game. I think Grand Theft Auto does it in a way that kind of weaves it together a lot better. So I think that's kind of the big thing. And like I said, I know I'm kind of branching off of Fallout 76 here, and I'm using this as a way to just kind of gripe about the industry. But yeah, I see problems in this overall. It just as a long-term kind of business model, because I think stuff like, I mean, if you want to talk branching story, I mean, I think what Quantic Dreams did with Detroit Become Human was phenomenal. I mean, God of War was amazing. It's still my game of the year. What I think Insomniac's going to be doing with Spider-Man, I'm super pumped with. The new Tomb Raider. I mean, all of these more linear I guess Spider-Man and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you can argue, aren't technically linear because you can, branch off and do side stuff. But either way, but you know what I mean. There's like there is a definable story. Like there's a beginning, middle, and end of the story. So I mean, that's awesome. I think those are going to be great. I mean, honestly, if there's a game this year that I'm both extremely excited for and worried about, it's Red Dead Redemption 2, because I'm so curious to see how much is the GTA Online stuff going to affect Red Dead 2. Are we still going to have that kind of that Rockstar-esque story where everything's going to kind of weave together to create the narrative, or is it going to be very much a live, open experience? So, I started going one place and ended it totally different. I am so sorry about this. Let's see here. A couple weeks ago, community administrator Jessica revealed that the beta would begin in October, and Bethesda would be, and I quote, selecting people who have pre-ordered the game from a participating retailer, end quote. She also confirmed that they would, and I quote, start small and grow over time, end quote. The Fallout 76 beta will begin first on Xbox One with PlayStation 4 and PC to follow sometime after. QuakeCon 2018 begins this Thursday, and on Saturday, August 10th, there will be a Fallout 76 panel. Todd Howard, who is a little 13-year-old boy. Other than Bethesda Game Studios developers discussing more upcoming titles. Well, 76, blah, 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 blah. November 14th is the release date. And no, I'm not trying to bash on Todd Howard. I'm just saying, if you really... Sorry, I'm getting updates on my phone for shit. If you really listen to Todd Howard, dude sounds like he's 13. So, like Mickey Mouse. Oh, God, I'm an asshole. All right, moving on. I'll try and stick more to the game on this one. This is a short article on Destructoid. The Quiet Man reveals gameplay video and quirky concept details. Something about beating up a lot of dudes. Article Chris Moyes. Like I said, Destructoid. During a live stream yesterday, Square Enix showcased over half an hour of footage from their mysterious upcoming adventure, The Quiet Man, when first revealed during E3 this year. It left the audience a little baffled with its lack of context. Yeah, because I believe it was a live-action trailer of a guy just beating up other guys in an alley. Now, I mean, I was down, but it's kind of weird. The Quiet Man concerns Dane, an enforcer for a local gangster who is sent on a mission to locate a nightclub singer, Lala, who has been kidnapped. Dane is deaf, and this will be reflected in the game through an incredibly sparse use of sound, with effects only really coming in to reflect physical fighting and actions. Yeah, this little bit of this, like I said, you can go to this article and watch the video. But of what I saw in the video, a lot of the sounds that we're hearing are more like impact sounds, which I would argue aren't even, I guess, sounds. They're more of the feedback of hitting somebody. You know, I mean, you kind of... I mean, I find it very interesting that we're playing as a deaf guy. I mean, what? I mean, we've already played. What was that game done by? Was it Ken Levine? Was it his? Was it that studio that did that horror game where you played as the blind woman? I think that's why. So we're seeing these interesting ways of utilizing these disabilities in a story and making them part of the narrative with this character Dane, with him being deaf. In all the fighting. So, I mean, they're probably going to do a lot of really interesting things sound-wise. So, I mean, like I said, like a lot of the sound that we hear is just impact sounds. I'm curious to see what dialogue is going to look like. I mean, like, are we going to hear dialogue, or are we going to be reading lips? Like, how is that going to work? It's going to be really interesting. I mean, like, this game, again, from just like that little bit of what we saw at E3, I was immediately, I'm super intrigued. And I want to know more. Let's see. The strange-looking game will also be HUD-free, with elements such as screen colors being used to reflect Dane's current condition. Lens flare will kick in when Dane is ready to go full beatdown on those who are causing him grief, mixing real-time gameplay and live-action video sequences. Oh! The Quiet Man is expected to run about 3 hours in total, and thus will have a budget price to reflect that. Okay, that's great if it's going to be like a shorter 3-hour experience, and then you're going to give it to me at a lower price. I like that, but that's interesting that you're going live-action video as opposed to rendered. As opposed to rendered. That's not something we see very much anymore. Let me get the sentence correctly. That's not something we see very much anymore. I personally, I stand by it. One of my favorite racing games was Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about the old one on the PS2 that had those live action cutscenes when you're racing up the blacklist. Those cutscenes were amazing, like the stylized background, the characters and everything. Loved it. I mean, if done right, I think live action can be really cool. And they can also be really kind of, if you watch like old FMV games. So you know, I mean, it's kind of hit and miss. But I'm holding out hope that it's good. The producer, Kensei Fujinaga, that's correct, talks of his title in a way that clearly shows that it is a very personal passion project of his. The Quiet Man is a very small game, Fujinaga said in a statement. However you look at it, it will never be an opulent and ornate treasure box, sparking with all the colors of the rainbow. However, if this tiny, tiny stone that represents a, frankly, disproportionate level of challenge and experimentation from my modest team can shine brightly like a diamond in the hearts of our players out there, I would safely say that there could be no greater joy for us than that, end quote. The Quiet Man is currently in development for PlayStation 4 and PC. So we still don't have a release date, but like I keep saying, like the more and more I see about this project, the more and more I'm very intrigued about what it is. Like I said, go check out this video if you're interested. We get a little bit, you know, like I said, I mean, you can see some combat, you can see some this, that, the other thing, but I mean, again, unless you speak Japanese, I'm not sure how much you're going to pull out of it. So, moving on to something that I can only say yes to. Saints Row director thinks it's time the series returns. Yeah, especially after that last thing that Volition tried to do. What the hell was that thing called? It was the what the hell was that game called? Agents of Mayhem. Game sucked. Article Joshua Duckworth of Game Rant. Last anyone had seen of the boss in the Saints Row franchise, he had defeated Zinyak, and I'm surprised I was able to remember how that's pronounced, and effectively became the new emperor of the Zen Army, or the Zen Empire, excuse me. Well, he was already one of the best fictitious presidents in video games. The last installment in this open-world action-adventure franchise saw the boss turn it up a notch, but since he has been missing in the video games industry. Scott Phillips, one of the men behind the boss, has since moved on to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but the Saints Row director was recently asked about the franchise in an interview. Although it was a rapid-fire interview about the upcoming Assassin's Creed game, Phillips was asked, and I quote, "You directed Saints Row the Third. Do you think that that series needs more time before it comes back?" End quote. Okay, one, before we get to his answers. Yes, it needs to come back. Two, Saints Row the Third was awesome, but no matter how much Saints Row the Fourth, or Saints Row 4, whatever, was... Wait. I'm making sure I'm thinking this right. Saints Row 1, Saints Row 2... Saints Row 3 was where Johnny Gat died, and yeah, Saints Row 4 was the one where we went into the... Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I was making sure I was doing math right here. Where was I? I still love how Saints Row went from a series that was kind of serious in the first game, get a little goofier in the second, went just balls to the wall, just crazy in the third game, and then in the fourth one we entered a computer simulation, we're jumping around and all that, we're based Superman, it was awesome. Where was I going with that? Phil, short answer, yes, the game needs to come back. I really want another Saints Row. Phillips' answer was in support of the franchise, with the director replying, and I quote, "It's been quite a few years. I think it would be good if it came back. It's worth mentioning that the Saints Row franchise has returned to THQ Nordic since it recently acquired Deep Silver, the publisher behind Saints Row 4 and Agents of Mayhem. Agents of Mayhem sucked. Although I will say I did like Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4 was my initiation to the Saints Row franchise. I'll say that. But I think Deep Silver nailed out of the park with Saints Row 4, and then Agents of Mayhem no. If the series did make a comeback, it would likely excite fans of the series that distinguish itself in its genre with its absolute outlandishness, and it certainly seems possible since the developers at Volition have been rather hush-hush. Notably, THQ Nordic is launching Darksiders 3 in a few months' time, which may open up a slot for Saints Row 5. Of course, there is no evidence that Saints Row 5 is in development, but many may also agree with Phillips that the franchise needs to return, even though Volition wanted to try its hand at a new IP and explained why it chose it over another Saints Row sequel in E3 2017. Agents of Mayhem sucked, let's just be honest. It's safe to say another sequel would be well received by many if it was done right, but of course fatigue for the franchise may have set in for many others as well. Tell us, ranters. See, I think they've waited plenty. It's kind of like another Fable game. I think we've waited plenty of time for another Fable game, for another Saints Row game. I think people are ready for it. I think people would love it. And maybe this is also me projecting my internal thoughts of it. I just want another Saints Row game. It's what I want. It's what I need. But all right, well, we'll keep going. We're about to enter the gameplay portion. Before we, as everything, of course, has to reload. Stupid things. But before we hop into this, we're going to start with Shadow of the Tomb Raider gameplay. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to refill my beverage and all that, because this is going to be, we're entering the long part of the video. All right, guys, I'm back. We're about to keep going with the video portion. I think we have one more article that's going to go right before we see some Doom gameplay. But to start things off, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider PS4 combat gameplay. This is from PS Underground. As I said earlier, all links to all these videos, everything are in the description. Go check them out. These are the people who do the real work. I'm just some punk who sits in a room in front of a microphone and just gives my takes on things. So let's hop into this.
Laura, why would you do that?
I mean, who among us could say no to, an ancient dagger?
Yeah. She has the best intentions.
Real quick, I mean, we're finally getting a look at actual combat in this one, which is something that we've seen little bits and pieces. We've seen some stealth, we've seen some this, that, we've seen a lot of exploration. This is our first real look at combat here in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So, just a heads up what we'll be looking at here.
Hey everybody, welcome back to PlayStation Underground. You got Kristen and Zach here, and we are diving around literally in Shadow of the Tomb Raider out September 14th. So I was so excited to play this game, because this is the first time in a long time that Lara has been able to swim in a Tomb Raider game. I remember in the classics it was always a huge deal, her diving into a tomb, going around, but look at this underwater traversal right now.
Yeah, this looks awesome. We saw, so this was your second time playing the game, right?
Second time, yes.
Okay, somebody correct me. Did we not get to swim in the previous Lara Croft? Like, maybe not like a true like underwater like exploration, but didn't we swim in the last Tomb Raider game? Am I just losing my mind?
I got to play a good stretch of it, about 3-ish hours, I would say, this time.
Okay.
Get a little bit into the game, and Lara is definitely a Tomb Raider at this point. Like, she knows what she's doing. She is surviving, and she's just like a predator hunting down Trinity right now, trying to continue to save the world.
Gotcha. So in the last time we saw this game, there were some terrible incidents that had happened, right? With
yes.
Lara perhaps inadvertently triggering the apocalypse.
Yes.
Right?
So Lara has been sort of on the hunt for this organization Trinity. By actually taking that artifact before Trinity, she inadvertently started a Maya apocalypse.
Oops.
Whoops, indeed. Trinity even was like, Lara, why would you do that?
I mean, who among us could say no to, an ancient dagger?
Yeah. She has the best intentions. So now she's trying to get ahead of them again. She's following a series of clues to continue to stop the series of events, all these cataclysms. And she's trying to get there before Trinity does.
Gotcha.
Because if they get this second artifact before her, they will be able to finish their plan.
Okay.
This is a great, cool sequence.
Yeah, so this looks great. Last time we saw it, it was just like in a tomb, and it looked very spooky and tomby. But this is the first of the jungle that we're seeing, right?
Yeah, well, these are the jungles of Peru, and as you can see, Lara is using everything to her advantage.
Okay, so right off, I really like this. If anybody remembers, that's almost something. What was the weapon? It was an AC3, the rope dart. No, was the rope dart? Was that what it was called? Can't remember. Where you could throw it and grab somebody and hoist them up from a tree. It was one of the coolest things you could do. But see, I really like how you were able to use that, because that was almost that drew a lot of aggro in that game, especially in AC3. With this one, we started just shoot, hit the guy, pull him up, strangle him, and then fall into these bushes to enter a stalking zone to start now dealing with this guy, because I'm going to guess this is going to draw this guy over. We're going to probably knife him in this bush.
She can climb trees. She can swing from
the point that I'm trying to get at is I like how you can kind of combo these things. You can go from this instead of just dropping out into the open and then moving. You can, if you know what's around you, and you can, if you know what's around you, you can utilize this area to really kind of chain this move into stealth, and everything flows really well. I think that was something that Uncharted 4 did very well with their level design, was being able to chain this, like certain stalking zones and combat and everything. And I always say this with Tomb Raider and Uncharted. I think these two franchises have kind of done and I talked about this last time we really talked about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, was how when the first Uncharted game kind of came out, it was borrowing a lot from Tomb Raider, and then then we had the new Tomb Raider games, and it's kind of borrowing some from Uncharted, but also going its own way. And then Uncharted kind of borrowed from Tomb Raider to make the next Uncharted, and they've sort of kind of gone back and forth a lot, and I really like that, and I think we're seeing like little aspects of Uncharted in this Tomb Raider. Just every here and there.
Rope takedown called the Eagle's Talon. There's a full set of skills that you could start to build out where she's using the environment to her advantage. And as you
all right, so what we're seeing there with him just shooting off into the forest. From what I've seen, I find that odd that he now just starts shooting, because I mean I'd prefer to take people out in a way that's gonna not raise the alert. Or like you'd think, you'd do something like that, and he's going to walk towards you, but instead he just starts shooting. But from what I've heard, like you can like get them on edge, and you can like kind of like alert them to something behind them. They'll turn and shoot, and you can have them actually like shoot their buddies. So that's not just like a that's not just like an animation that's happening. Like you actually, like he's firing, and those bullets are being recognized as projectiles in the world. So if we can get like somebody like right here where he's shooting, we can get him to shoot one of his friends and take somebody else out without even having to touch him. Everything that I've seen of the stealth gameplay is really, really cool. I cannot wait to get this thing in my hands to play this. Next month? I think it is. I think it's on the 14th of next month. I think that's right.
You can see it's to chilling effects. These guys are like, who is there?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Just
that looks amazing.
Right into knifing.
What are they so afraid of? They're afraid of you, Lara. But yeah, she definitely has grown a lot throughout the series. In this sort of rebooted trilogy, she started out as this unsuspecting college, graduate. She didn't really know much about this side of the world. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, she was just starting to learn how to survive.
Whoa. What was that?
Laura does not know what that is.
Okay.
Neither does Trinity.
Good.
So yeah, Peru has a lot of mysteries. Has a lot of different.
All right, when that thing just kind of popped up out of nowhere, did anyone else think that kind of looked like the weird El Dorado monsters from the first Uncharted game? With what they were saying with the rebooted Uncharted, with the rebooted Tomb Raider franchise, I think this has been the most realistic Lara Croft we've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. I think I've really enjoyed Lara Croft as a character now. I mean, I've liked her for I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna reveal some personal things to me. For the longest time, like when I was a kid, I just always saw Lara as just really hot. But I really didn't care about her story. But also, like, I looked back at Tomb Raider lore, and I'm like, I've always seen it as kind of confusing. Like, but these Tomb Raider games, I think she's a lot more grounded. She's a lot more of a person, a well-rounded character. Very well done, very well made. I'm gonna say something that honestly a lot of people disagree with me, or a lot of people I work with, let me put it this way, really disagree with me with that. I don't think that new movie with what was it with Alicia Vikander? Was that who played? I think that was who played Lara in the recent movie. I don't think did well. I do not think that they made her as well of a rounded character, as much of a grounded character as they did in the Tomb Raider games. I mean, that was my big problem. I'm like, I just accidentally turned off my monitor. There we go. That was bad. I was trying to adjust my my monitor on my desk and just flicked it off. What was I saying? Totally lost my train of thought there. All right, with the recent Tomb Raider movie, and I know I'll try and make this quick just because this is in my head now, and I gotta say it. I feel like that movie was just kind of like, oh, we're gonna take these weird slow motion jumping scenes that we saw in the game, and we're just gonna do them in live action. But the story, the way that the plot developed and everything in that movie, it just was not good. I was waiting for about an hour and a half for things to go, and it just didn't go anywhere. Honestly, I thought the story in the first game, which a lot of people have problems with the way the story was in the first game. I wish they would have introduced Trinity in the first one, just because I think it works better as a trilogy as opposed to just Trinity in the last one, and now she's stopping them in this one. It's odd to me, but whatever. I thought the story with the storm goddess and all that, and the crazy religious leader on the island, I thought that was really cool. But the way they did it in the movie, I thought it was boring. It took forever for anything to really start happening. It just overall a poor film. Wow, I got way off track. Sorry.
Right.
That's what happens here. I just do that.
Interact with. So she's not just trying to hunt down Trinity. She's also just trying to survive nature, survive potentially the locals.
Yeah.
Not everyone's happy that she's in Peru.
Camp set up near abandoned oil factory outside a village.
Of course, you're finding artifacts,
Uh-huh.
right?
I was going to say, there was a lot of time that I spent literally just combing every corner, which, this game is so great for that. They have all of the hidden tombs.
Right.
They have the challenge tombs, which I especially love. They have the extra puzzles that are beyond just the main storyline. But then we have these great combat sequences of just, trying to be stealthy as possible.
Right.
Using her survival instinct. So that's what's happening when you see them ending up getting highlighted. You can see the red enemies. People can see them if you take them down. The yellow ones are out of their field of vision, so you sort of want to take your time, wait it out.
So if
neat.
the red guy, someone else
it would
see
alert
that.
everybody.
Exactly.
But nobody notices this.
Right, and that's just based on kind of their enemy's vision cones.
Yes.
I would presume. Okay, cool. Yeah, and this is cool. This reminds me of something we were talking about just before we started taking a look at this footage here that you captured. Is that there's a lot of customization options for kind of how assisted the player is, right?
Yeah. So for I believe the first time in this series, I had never really seen this level of customization before. You can change your difficulty settings for different aspects of the game. So it's not just set to an easy, normal, hard for the overall game. You can set it to that you want your combat to be hard, your combat to be super.
Not a silencer.
Mistakes were made. I think what happened actually is that he had heavier armor, so the shot hit his helmet. So you also have to take into account what level of armor people have and what will affect them. So you can change the puzzles, traversal, and combat to be differing levels of difficulty. So if you're super into the puzzles, you don't want any help, any hints, you can set that to hard. But maybe if you're not as good as exploring and you kind of need to know specifically where to go, you could set that to easy. It definitely sort of opens up a level of how intense do you want to play? What type of adventure do you want Lara to be? And yeah, it really can make the experience very unique.
Fascinating.
See, I like that what they're doing with the difficulty in this game. I find that it's an interesting kind of model that we don't see very often. I mean, I'm seeing. What was it? It was the Colin Moriarty made a joke. If you like the Doom Eternal gameplay, just wait till you see Polygon play it. Makes me laugh. But I've seen articles in the past that a lot of people are like, oh, games are too hard, and games are. I'm like, look, and I'm somebody who people make fun of because I don't like Dark Souls because I find that game just impossibly too difficult because I don't like it. But it's also because I look at it as difficulty mixed. I see difficulty and reward. If the reward is worth the difficulty, I can deal. I'm way more okay with it. With Dark Souls, I don't see the reward anywhere near worth the difficulty. But listening to people talk about these things, some people are just like, games need to be easier so more people can experience them. This. Honestly, if this is the model that you go for, that you can overall change the experience, that I can kind of go, okay, well, I want this to be hard and this to be a little easier and this, because I'm shit with puzzles. I'll probably play in a medium difficulty with puzzles and keep it so I can get hints if I need them. But, as far as combat and stealth and everything, I mean, I might go medium across the board on my Let's Play, because that's usually what I do. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll go hard on difficult on combat of this. That I like the option to be able to do that. I like to kind of tailor make my experience from a difficulty standpoint. I like that idea.
It's a really cool approach.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone likes different parts of games, right? And a game like Tomb Raider is combining all these different elements. So that's a really smart approach. See that you are
taking them down again.
following in your footsteps.
I was like, let's try this one again.
So is that, do you try, like, obviously stealth is supported here and throughout the Tomb Raider games. But
you could totally go in guns blazing.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Although, so what's happening here is, for the jungle, you can cover yourself in mud.
Oh, what?
So that's what Laura just did. She found a pool of mud. She just.
What, did you not know that, dude?
Going to help her be a little bit harder to see.
Huh.
So if she were to jump in front of that guy, it might take him a little bit longer to notice her there.
Oh, wow. That is really cool.
You didn't know that? That was whatever.
Some classic PS3 games involving eating snakes. God, wow, look at that.
I loved
awesome.
this rope mechanic.
I can see.
I was like, let me climb into every tree to take these guys down.
It's a very showy, it reveals a very confident side of Lara. These.
And I mean, that's what she is at this point.
Yeah.
She's not afraid of Trinity. She knows what she has to do. She knows that she has to get there before they do, or literally people will die.
Right.
So this is another moment of these guys are heavily armored. How am I going to do this? They can all see each other.
Perhaps that bottle.
Perhaps these bottles are
be of
helpful.
assistance.
It's almost over.
But of course, you don't have to be stealthy if you don't want to.
Right. But that's definitely how I play these games. I try and use the bow and arrow like as much as possible. Oop.
Yeah.
Nice. God.
And they saw me.
Uh-oh.
Run. So you also, of course, you can heal yourself, but there is another perception meter that you can set for yourself that by taking in certain herbs or eating certain berries, it will open up your perception to your predators.
Huh.
So I didn't use it, ended up using it here, but when you're hunting animals, if you're fighting animals, if you just eat some of that really quick, it can sort of heighten your senses, and you'll be a little bit more aware of what is stalking you.
Gotcha. Right. Hunting and kind of crafting.
Also, if I remember correctly, that also, I'm not sure if it's exactly what we saw there with that, you had the little eye or that healing item. When you were running away after getting shot there a little bit. There's also a last known position sort of meter, if anybody remembers that from which Splinter Cell introduced that one. That was, oh, come on. It was the one where Sam Fisher went all dirty, hairy. He had that cool beard. It was the one right after Double Eight. Was that Conviction? Was that the name of that? I feel like that was the name of it, but I could be wrong. It has a similar model to that, which I like that from a stealth mechanic that you can kind of go loud for a couple seconds, let them see where you are, duck out, and then they start hunting you from that last known position. And you can use that to kind of separate enemies or whatnot. It's a neat mechanic, and I'm interested to see what we can do, how we can use that in this game. I mean, I think we can see this from just this little bit of gameplay. I mean, a lot of the stuff isn't like brand new stuff that we're seeing, but it's kind of like, I'm trying to think how to put this. This is almost a perfect evolution of what we know from the previous Tomb Raider games that we've seen so far. I mean, this is a lot of mechanics that we've seen before that are just going an extra step.
Upgrades, of course, big part of the previous games. Would presume that's also in here.
Exactly.
Since we are in the jungle. So we're just seeing kind of a brief selection of everything that you played, but you played the game for like 4 hours, right?
I did, yeah. And Lara definitely is going on a journey. She's with her friend Jonah. This is a different section of the game. We're going to see a short little cinematic here of one of the other predators that Lara will end up running into. But Lara's with her friend Jonah. They're both working to stop Trinity. Jonah.
Oh, awesome!
Oh my God.
That's not good. Lara's like, oh no.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Jaguars of Peru.
Speaking of predators.
That's a kick-ass shot.
Games, Lara would frequently come into contact with packs of wolves. She's sort of used to fighting really quickly, but Jaguars are very quick, very agile. It's going to take a different skill set to fight them.
Interesting.
So she's gonna have to take that on.
Something out of
so
Jungle
right now
Book.
She's currently trying to find Jonah again. Their plane might have gone down.
Whoa.
So they've been briefly separated, but Jonah has sort of been this ally and friend to Lara throughout the series. He's an adventurer like her. He's always been a supportive character, and especially in this game, when Lara is in the mindset of go, 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 I have to stop Trinity, I have to do anything to make sure I save the world. Jonah's sort of being like, let's stop, let's take a deep breath and consider our options while we go into this. Are people getting hurt along the way? Was there a better way we could have done this? Should you maybe not have grabbed that artifact that potentially started this apocalypse?
Right.
So she's sort of starting to have to rethink about the consequences of her actions, and while she does have good intentions, is it better to maybe go about it in a different way?
Huh. That's really cool. I'm glad that they're exploring that angle of Lara's story, because obviously we see her evolving quite a bit from.
What they're saying about the narrative, is interesting, but I'm really liking the tension that's building in this segment, because you're hearing the jaguars growl in the background, the fog, all the tree cover and everything. It really makes me want to play it. Just really kind of like walk through there, like feeling that have that vibe. It's almost like a zombie game, like looking for them, trying to figure out where they are. But I mean, just the way the lighting is working with the fog in the forest and everything, from just the camera angles of seeing that jaguar up on that tree branch with Lara looking up, just the shots of her face, just the animations and everything are just top quality in this.
From the earlier part of the trilogy, as far as kind of like how she's interacting with enemies and how she's traversing the world, but to see her also maybe starting to at least consider taking steps on kind of an intellectual level or an empathetic level is really compelling, because obviously, there can be, Lara does a lot of good, but there can also be byproducts of stealing artifacts.
Yep. So this is one of those jaguar encounters. So what ends up happening here is it's usually in a space that isn't just part of the regular environment. So you sort of have to take a look around. So in this one, there wasn't really any trees that I could climb, but there was another encounter later on where it strongly encouraged you to use trees. Okay. The jaguar is absolutely going to move in and out and sort of stalk you and come out and surprise you. So you really have to be paying attention, listening for what direction it's going to come from. If you have those perception berries to eat, you could potentially use those. But
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed that was the approach that they went with, because this is almost like fighting wolves in the previous games, that we come into this, it's almost like an arena that they're coming at. Like, I would have actually liked it if they would have attacked randomly, or just in that more linear area that she was in right before she jumped into this little arena chunk, and just kind of walking around, feeling like you could get attacked at any moment. Again, make it more like a zombie game.
So how many encounters with jaguars did you have?
They're just gonna go in, out, run around, and
they so it seems like those are kind of like those are distinct from, even though you kind of met them in kind of the not, it's obviously not an open world game, but kind of like in kind of the explorable spaces that the actual combat takes place in a distinct area.
See, I don't like that.
nailed them.
It's like they said, this isn't technically an open world game. I guess sandbox, or however you want to explain it. But I wish it did take place more out in the open world, make it feel a little bit more, the word dynamic, I guess, makes more sense. But yeah, it's like I said, just make it, just let it build that tension. Because then if it's not going to take place if I know it's going to take place in this kind of like a little arena area and not like it's going to attack me anywhere, it kills some of that tension. It makes me not... it's still neat because it's still building up to this moment, but it feels very video gamey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is going to be coming to PS4 on September 14th. I'm so excited. I can't wait to continue on Lara's journey.
Me neither. Thanks for showing me this.
Thank you, Zach.
Not much longer to wait.
I know. All right. We'll see you next time on PlayStation Underground.
See ya.
All right, so like I said, it's about another month until this game, yes. But yeah, there's a little look at More Shadow of the Tomb Raider gameplay. Next up, we got some from PC Gamer. This is Doom Eternal will let you invade another player's campaign. Article Andy Chalk, like I said, of PC Gamer. We're going to take a look at some Doom Eternal gameplay that dropped very recently. But quick, we got a couple paragraph long story here that I found kind of interesting. id Software dropped a big surprise about Doom Eternal today, QuakeCon, when it revealed that players can invade games taking control of demons to bring down the Doom Slayer. They can go one-on-one or team up to form a Slayer hunting party. It indicated that this was not the only form of multiplayer in Doom Eternal. We'll cover more details about what's coming, but this is a big change, and it reflects a new approach to the game. We're not just, and I quote, "We're not just making a Doom game anymore." id's Marty Stranton said, "We're building a Doom universe," end quote. More of this as we report from QuakeCon. I mean, just up front, I mean, this reminds me a lot of, if anybody remembers, the Be the Zombie or whatever thing from not State of Decay, Dying Light. That's really what this reminds me of. But yeah, this is kind of making me think of something real quick before we get into the video. I just wanted to talk about that because I haven't seen any of these videos. I like to kind of come in just on like fresh, no prior knowledge. I like to just kind of come in and see what's going on. So just in the event that didn't cover in this video, I wanted to talk about this real quick. But I saw a video recently. Somebody was talking about how they didn't like cover-based shooters. How they thought that cover-based shooters have kind of ruined shooters in video games. And I heavily disagree. I love third-person shooters. I love cover-based shooters. Gears of War, Uncharted. The list goes on and on and on. I love cover-based shooters. And he was talking about like stuff like Doom. Bringing up Doom as an example of proper shooters and whatnot. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, yeah, Doom is a phenomenal first-person shooter, and especially when you're looking at those run-and-gun kind of arcade-based shooters. Doom is almost the standard. But I'll bring this up. To me, Doom feels more like they're shooting for this kind of, like I said, arcade or kind of an action movie sequence. With third-person shooters, I get more of a realistic vibe. And from what this guy was saying, I mean, it was his opinion. I can't remember what channel it was. But again, his opinion, whatever. I'm not trying to bash on him for that. I'm just kind of giving my take on this. And tell me what you think. I mean, what do you prefer, like third-person cover-based shooters, or those kind of these slide and glide, more first-person shooters like Doom? I personally prefer a third-person cover-based mechanic. Because again, to me, it gives it more of a sense of realism. Now, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, because yeah, you can like pop up and you can kind of like get the general aim area before you pop out. But it's you're not moving around a lot, and you're just but still, I prefer what I prefer is what I prefer. But I don't know. But I mean, I will say I think Doom, but I wouldn't call Doom hyper realistic, but I'll still call it good, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I'm bringing this up because I'm curious to hear what you guys think. But either way, okay, let's get into this. This is Doom Eternal gameplay that's shown at this year's QuakeCon. Let's get into this. Like I said, I haven't seen this. Oh, jeez, look how beautiful that is. See, I don't know if anybody can tell me. That'd be great. Is this a direct continuation of last year of the last Doom? Oh God, that's awesome. So it's the line from, oh cool, some sort of like harpoon on the super shotgun. What was it? Oh my God, that's sweet. What was that thing from what was it from Archer when he got into the race car at the Monaco Grand Prix? It was the oh, it's gonna be hard to drive this with this huge throbbing erection. Oh, it's a traversal oh, neat. Oh, I have no actual like commentary to go other than just going, oh, how much in love with this I am. Jesus. I mean, I'm liking these secondary fires on these weapons. These are definitely new. I mean, like we're seeing like this regular shotgun, but it also looks like it has a grenade launcher along with it. We're seeing these new enemies, this like machete attachment the Doom guy's got on his on his left arm. I mean, I kind of always say that Doom is kind of like the perfect 13-year-old fantasy. It's just running around, blowing shit up, shooting things, ripping off heads, and there's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. Oh, neat! Wait a minute. Let me go back there for a second. Let me see if I saw what happened. Right. Okay. So we shotgun. Damn, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure I saw this correctly. Yeah, you see that? It was almost like an attachment on the shotgun. So is it still a shotgun though, or did it become a machine? Okay, so it looks like the upgrades of the weapons are a lot different. Still though, I mean, we're still seeing the slide and glide kind of shooting mechanic here in this one. As always, it's always my problem. Like, I always try and stand still when I play these games, and that's just again, like I said, my third-person shooter thing kind of coming out. But the area seems a lot more open. Okay, so it looks like that's how weapon attachments work. Like, you could kind of turn it into like with this, he has like this sticky grenade launcher, but he can also equip kind of like a machine gun on it. I'm loving this little grappling hook thing. But these areas look a lot bigger, and there's a lot more. Sound just cut. That's weird. The areas look a lot bigger, a lot more verticality in them. I mean, we're seeing some new monsters here and there. But I think the coolest part about it might be the. While traversal was definitely a big deal in the first Doom game, because again, like I said, I mean, these are slide and glide sort of shooters at their core. With this, it looks like you're going faster, you're going farther, you're jumping higher. It really looks like it's pushing the boundary in almost every way, shape, or form. Looks like there's also some sort of like jump jet, like he's using to strafe side to side, forward, backwards. Jeez, this has only been 3 minutes. Feels so much longer. Like I said, I'm interested to know if anybody knows. Like, please tell me. Is this? Oh shit! Is this a continuation of the previous Doom, or? I'm also liking how you're seeing the like you're hitting that guy with the shotgun, but you're seeing where the shotgun hit him. You're seeing like skin being torn off, and you're flamethrower. I mean, this is just like the fantasy of a 13-year-old boy, and there is nothing wrong with that. Oh, sweet. Oh, it's not a machine gun. It's like a Gatling shotgun. Interesting. Awesome. Just punches his head square in the body. I like the little like monkey bar thing. Corruption. Oh, so is it no longer like mission based, like going here to there? Is it, or is this like a different mode? Because when it said demonic corruption, it makes me ask, is this well, what's the goal here? Is it just to run around and kill all the monsters? Is it, is this kind of like a horde mode, or is this actually like how the story is going to work? Is there actually no story? Is it just running around and clearing areas? I mean, in all honesty, I don't think I'd mind if it was just running around and clear the areas, because this just looks so freaking awesome. Whoa.
Remember, demon can be an offensive term.
Demon.
As mortally challenged.
Demon can be an offensive term. Deem them as mortally challenged. It's cute. Just wow. Wow is all I had to say. I mean, I think it looks awesome. I love the movement. I love the weapon. It's the greatest kind of sequel to a game. We took what was amazing in the first one and we just added. We're ripping out what's better. We're not trying to drastically change anything. We're staying to what we are, and that is just a fast-moving, beat the ever-living shit out of other people. I love it. Nothing more to say about Doom. Let's hop right into this next thing. This is from IGN, I believe. Yeah, it's from IGN. We have 11 minutes of mission gameplay for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We're seeing the male character. I want to say Alexios, but I'm not entirely sure what the... I can't remember what his name is now off the top of my head. I'm loving the big look of the world. I mean, it looks beautiful. I'm still really curious to see what. I'll let this cutscene play.
What has caused this man's condition?
An excess of phlegm, Doctor.
In the immediate sense, yes. But more importantly, he suffers from neglect.
Neglect?
Good food, warm clothing, so much could have helped. But since other caretakers assumed his condition was a punishment from the gods, they neglected him.
Challenging tradition.
Oh, it is Alexios.
You must be Hippocrates.
Yes, I'm also very busy.
This will only take a moment. I won't keep you away from your patients. And your students?
Observation, experience, and experimentation are crucial for treatment. My followers are learning that.
I've come from your clinic in Argos. So Stratos asked me to give you this.
I knew I forgot some things. So Stratos is a good physician, but a better apprentice there is none. Did you ask him to pay you for this delivery?
No. I knew this would help you and your patients. That's good enough for me.
Quite admirable. What did you say your name was?
Alexios of Sparta.
Well met, Alexios of Sparta. What do you need?
Alright, well, so far, the voice to me doesn't match the body for the male character. I mean, I think the female character has seemed a whole lot more polished, although she's what we've really been seeing a lot of recently. I mean, we've not been seeing a lot of Alexios, and maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's because the voice acting's a little off. His animations are super stiff, too. But again, I don't know if that's because the build is still not done, like saying work in progress, but it's just a little odd to me. Yeah. Just my initial thoughts off the bat.
Searching for a Spartan woman.
What makes you think I would know her?
I was told you may have helped her a long time ago.
Maybe the priests at the sanctuary of Asclepios can help. They keep detailed records of all who passed through.
Please, Hippocrates, I came very far to meet you.
As did this patient, and the one before him, and the one before her. My patients need me, but my notes on diseases of the mind were taken. Retrieve them, and I will help you find what you seek. Hurry, this patient doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, we're seeing more of these dialogue options and...
Your notes.
4 Tyrins, not far from here. Perhaps they'll return them if you ask.
Or they could prepare for a new battle. With me.
Far be it for me to tell Amistios how to work, but please, for my sake, do not kill needlessly. Enough blood has been shed in this war.
According to Sostratos, you don't like people mentioning your... you know,
My what?
your hair. Or lack of it.
Yes. Yes. Make your jokes while walking around like one of Phidias' sculptures come to life.
I'll do my best with what you've told me.
Good luck. We're depending on you.
All right. I kind of like how when you're bringing up like a little side conversation, the animation is still crisp and at least Hippocrates and maybe not Alexios, but his animation, it doesn't look like he's just standing there like I was like this kind of like a puppet. Or like a marionette, and just standing there, like moving his arms to show life and just running through dialogue. Like it actually looks like there's animation to that specific dialogue, and I like that. Now, what I was saying about the world, I mean, again, I'm really curious to see how much like traveling by boat's gonna come into play here, because I mean this is Greece and a lot of islands and everything. All right, this stuff very much like this is almost copy paste from. Origins. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more, a little different. Now we're seeing the skill tree, the assassin tree, the hunter, whatever the middle one was. I missed it. Oh, that's neat. Oh, warrior. There we go. It's all that. It's the that you actually, from what we're seeing so far, is that we're actually going to have to equip weapons and not how we're going to actually have to equip, not weapons, skill moves. Like we're going to have to do things like that to make our to be able to perform certain actions. So it's going even further down the RPG route. And it also looks like they're making armor more customizable and equipable, because as you're seeing, you have a hood, a tunic, armor, chest, and leg armor, your horse, your two weapons. Looks like we can only equip one bow this time. I'm going to guess pouches and something like that. We get the idea of the full health. But I like this. We get to see how much damage we're doing with our hunter skills, our warrior skills, and our assassin damage, and mix that, and then also along with our armor. That's that's a nice thing to show us. Again, I think they're just trying to show us all the difference. Oh wait, let's go back a quick second. Okay, so. To engrave. I'm not sure what engraving is going to do, but we also see, because we have this pilgrim set, the Shadow of Nyx's ability is easier to use now, and also drops adrenaline, which I'm sure like a lot of these finer points, like what adrenaline is and how exactly it works, we're going to find out more at full launch. But again, it's not just armor; it's and required level and everything. We're also getting little buffs here and there, depending on the which armor we're wearing. I also like how we can toggle headgear. And showing us okay. So we have an eagle. See, this is what I was kind of afraid of. That this was going to be a lot more kind of like a cop. I mean, it looks a lot sharper. It looks It looks good.
Well guarded. Why?
But again, I was going to be afraid that this was kind of going to be a copy paste of Origins, which, from what I'm seeing, it's looking like that's what it is. Which is again was my biggest fear of AC going back to being a yearly franchise. Although I guess with the Eagle and with all this stuff, while that stuff is kind of copy paste, I am liking how they're expanding on the RPG elements. How it's like I said, they're expanding on the RPG elements. They're expanding in certain ways that I don't think are as upfront visible. So, I mean, take it what you will. I mean, I think there are some people who are just going to bash it's AC. And also note, I'm a massive Assassin's Creed fan, so anything I say always take with, grain of salt. I think that's important to mention. Oh, so there's a critical assassinate and just a normal assassinate.
Who's whistling?
Watch when he takes this guy out. Yeah, that's a normal assassinate and then a critical assassinate. Interesting. Oh, looks like combat's still set to the bumpers. That was something I was not a big fan of. Things being put on the bumpers now. And again, we're looking at this. I'm not sure if that is like how people can see us because it's kind of in that stalking zone. You know, what's the the adrenaline meter, and I'm curious to see how that mixes with our equipped abilities. I'm just I have a lot of questions. But again, I mean, I don't think a lot of this stuff's going to be answered until full release. And I mean, we're not that far away. This game comes out late October. Oh. I can see that down here, this nation power. And this is something that I've been kind of curious about, because our character is kind of like a mercenary from what I've been able to understand. So are we going to... Is there going to be like building an army and like stuff like that, and like building up the power of Sparta? I mean, like I said, I mean, I keep pointing out, I keep seeing bits and pieces that they're. I'm seeing things that were definitely in Origins, but at the same time, I see that they're improving on it. I definitely see the differences that they have gone their own direction with this, and I like that. I'm just afraid a lot of people are going to see it and not give it its due. But at the same time, I get why they wouldn't, because AC has had a problem as a franchise of doing stuff like that, of just basically releasing copy and pastes. So. Doctor will see you now. I missed the name of the mission. I mean, again, what I'm super curious about is the. I'm trying to think here. Oh, that's neat. Or is nation power the area that you're in the world? Again, I'm very interested. What was I saying? I've totally lost my train of thought. Oh, the modern day story. Are we going to continue with that Lana woman from the last one that we saw bits and pieces of? I mean, I think they were. I keep thinking that they were really setting up a. Oh, neat! So you chain your assassinations. What was I saying? Oh, right, with Lana. I'm interested to see where. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that stuff, because again, I thought that was something that that last game was really introducing another kind of like Desmond-esque character.
Hippocrates sent me. Your commander stole his notes, and I think you have them.
The ones written by the great Hippocrates himself. I'm sorry, they were burned in the last attack.
I thought his name was actually pronounced Hippocrates.
Was burned.
Whatever.
At least I memorized the notes before we lost them. I'll transcribe them when I have time, or when the war subsides.
Then, you'll have to come with me. A patient Hippocrates is treating will die without your help.
I have a patient right here who needs my help.
Can't someone else take care of this one?
I'm the only doctor here. Now let me work.
I'll wait here for you to finish. If I leave, what's stopping you from running away?
Thinking like a mercenary. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Then make yourself useful and bring me my bone forceps. Some idiot or another's always borrowing them.
Then you'll come treat Hippocrates' patient.
You have my word.
You leave him, this patient dies and just assassinates him.
There isn't enough time. I need you at Hippocrates' camp. Now.
Oh, shoot. I keep saying this. I really like. I'm liking the dialogue options, and again how it's embracing this RPG sort of vibe. I keep bringing up this comparison. If anybody remembers the Jason and the Argonauts RPG, yeah, I'm getting a lot of vibes of that in this game.
How is he, Hippocrates?
Poor.
So yeah, from what we just I'll back it up just a tad here. There we go. Yeah, so we're seeing this Athenian leadership in Argolis, I assume is what this place is. Interesting. I'm curious to see how this mechanic's gonna end up working.
How is he, Hippocrates?
Poor, but there's still a chance. Did you find my notes?
Not quite. Will this do?
Who is this?
Hippocrates! I'm sorry, your notes were destroyed, but I have them all in my head.
Then it is your duty to help me save this man's life.
Wait a minute, that guy called him Hippocrates earlier, and now it's back to Hippocrates. Like, can we pick?
Oh. He'll live.
I wish I could say the same for my patient.
What patient?
Your mysterious friend attacked me while I was in the middle of an operation.
It was the only way to get him here in time.
While you did save my patient, the other did not deserve their fate. At least we saved one soul today.
If we're finished here, I'll take some time and write down what I remember of your notes, Hippocrates.
All right, so there we go. Again, a little look into some mission gameplay for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm interested to see what's going to happen and where this game's going to go. I think the biggest thing again is just these RPG editions and see how this game works as a true RPG. So, all right, now onto our final little bit of gameplay. This is a short 6-minute release of some Red Dead 2, some gameplay bits. Which really we haven't seen. Almost every trailer that we've seen for this game have kind of been world building and setup, but we haven't really seen a lot of stuff like truly like what the narrative's about. A lot of gameplay, the world, and everything. So this is the first time that we're getting like I think true hard details on this game. So let's get into this, take a look.
They'll probably hang you, buddy.
You coming, buddy?
In the late 1800s, America was evolving, on its way to becoming the most powerful country in the world. New immigrants arrived, thriving outposts became towns, and civilization was spreading rapidly into the huge, wild, and lawless frontier.
I mean, already we're seeing the depth of like the color palettes and everything, just the rich greens, these kind of more dull, faded colors out in the mountains. It adds an extra visual level to the game.
With Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar Games aims to create a living world that's not simply open, but deeper.
Come on, pretty boy.
More interactive and detailed than ever.
Pretty boy?
Combining action, storytelling,
We need to get those people warm and fed.
and gameplay in new ways. As you live, ride, and fight to survive as an outlaw in a notorious gang.
As long as we get paid or you get shot, I'm happy.
Well, Arthur always talks like he's eating.
The game is an attempt to capture this pivotal moment when the age of outlaws was ending and the modern world was born. There is a huge world to explore, set across a range of America's heartland and frontier. From harsh mountain trails and dense forests to untamed swamplands and sweeping deserts, rugged livestock towns to modernizing cities and much more. All populated with a diverse cast of characters from turn-of-the-century life.
Now shoo, please. I'm waiting for someone interesting to turn up.
You play as Arthur Morgan, a trusted senior gun in the Vanderling gang, a band of outlaws and outcasts on the run from the pressures of civilized life.
We are gonna borrow a little money
old Uncle Sam and be out of his hair once and for all.
Each time they're forced to flee an area, the gang sets up a camp as a base. This is where gang members eat, sleep, perform chores, play games, and share stories.
Anyway, I got caught by some hill country sheriff stealing a chicken, I think it was, and he decided I was going to be hanged for it.
These are the people Arthur calls family, and you will get to know each gang member over the course of the game.
So, you save the silly bastard's life, then you and him go robbing sheep.
Helping the camp with food and supplies will keep morale high, while spending time with other gang members can reveal new secrets, fun things to do, and opportunities for mischief.
How about you and me?
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that's side missions. I really like that image of him carrying that deer over his shoulder. But again, it's making me think that hunting is going to be a bigger part of this game, because like you're gonna have to manage the camp's supplies. Like I said, like you're carrying that deer over his shoulder. Like it's not like hunting isn't just a way to make money or to unlock certain weapons. Like it serves like a true like narrative purpose to the game. I like this idea of the camp moving, so it's kind of this constantly evolving kind of group of characters, and again it's something that I guess we don't really see a lot in a Rockstar game. Like we don't see. I mean, we see characters get together and get to know each other and build relationships. Like again, I'm going to GTA 5, and let's go to the most recent one with Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. We do see them throughout the story kind of get together, get closer and like learn about each other and all this, but we don't get to spend time like as players really choosing who we want to get to know and do it on our own time. We don't see that a lot. Even something in like Bully, we didn't get a whole hell of a lot of that, in which again I'm still hoping for Bully 2. Just saying. A very, very interesting way of doing these things. I'm also the way they were talking about this, I put money that we'll just see random like other player, like we're still Arthur. They're gonna do something kind of like what they did with Assassin's Creed Unity, where we're playing as Arthur Morgan, but like maybe we can change his clothes, or we can mess how he looks. Like we're gonna have more like customization in this game than we did in the previous game, and then other people are going to show up in our camps, and this is how we can interact with other players, kind of like in a GTA Online sort of aspect. I'm not sure. I mean, this is a guess, but I'm throwing out ideas. If they're going to do it that way, that's how they'll do it. Like they'll have a different face, but their clothing options and everything, and they'll be in our camp and like members of the Van der Linde gang, and we'll be chatting or whatever. That's my guess how they do it.
Go and redistribute some property.
In and out of camp, the world is alive and responds to the player.
Well, ain't this a rare treat?
And your guns aren't the only way to interact with the environment. Call out to a passing rider.
That's a nice horse.
Talk yourself into trouble with a local tough guy.
Clear out.
Or out of trouble with a town sheriff. Or intimidate a witness into silence, and more.
Keep your mouth shut. You're dead, friend.
You don't want to involve yourself with this.
Confrontations can be escalated or diffused.
Take it easy. Do what you want. I don't care.
Interesting.
God, you did it.
Or make enemies as you choose.
You killed my cousin, you sick son of a bitch!
Your actions have consequences, and it's up to you to decide just how honorable Arthur is.
Should I have killed you, Jimmy Brooks?
Me?
Shooting and fighting have both been radically improved to make combat deep and engaging at all times. Each weapon has...
All right, real quick before we get into weapons and combat and everything, this seems to be the most interactive world I've seen in a Rockstar game. Because I mean, the Rockstar characters I've always kind of seen. Rockstar games are always kind of a little goofy, but the truly like interacting with the characters, pulling somebody out of a bear trap, like making friends and enemies of this, choosing to. And not just like, oh, well, here's this thing, this guy tells us something, we just choose to walk away. No, there's a line of dialogue that, it's almost like there's a conversation that goes on there. It promotes exploration, promotes interaction with the world. It makes everything feel more alive and open. And I mean, and this is Rockstar, so I have no doubt that this is going to be flipping amazing. I'm going to be sitting here just like bawling my eyes out. What was I about to say something? I was about to say something just beyond that. I mean, so I'm loving the extra level of interaction that we're getting with the world. But I mean, what we are seeing, I'm really curious to see what. I cannot wait till we get in some fist fights. Like, I think that was something that the first Red Dead really lacked on. So I'm curious to see like what we're gonna be doing with even when we don't have a gun. You know, like we'll just beat downs with the fists. Like I'm so curious to see what hand to hand is going to be in that, because that's something that, in my opinion, Rockstar's never really done well. If anybody remembers GTA 4, the hand to hand in that game
has unique characteristics with realistic reload and recoil that always keeps the player grounded and connected to the action in a gunfight.
Oh, anybody see what he was doing? It wasn't like a weapon wheel, like where he pulled it out of magic. Like let's go back a little bit here. Like, so I'm gonna guess maybe it's not like a weapon wheel like we usually have, or you know, maybe he'll sling something over his back. But just watch Arthur in this upcoming bit.
Keeps the player grounded and
he runs, pop, shoots, and then but he's keeping the shotgun in his hand.
In a similar way, the bond with your horse is crucial and changes based on your treatment of the animal.
Hold still, girl.
Oh!
You're better suited for certain tasks.
I got a fella been looking for a decent workhorse like this for a while.
Your saddle and saddlebags can store extra weapons, along with supplies and animal carcasses that you pick up while out roaming or hunting.
Oh my god, this might be the thing that I am the most excited about, and I can't believe it's about a fucking horse. I did that, so that's how it's gonna be. So I'm gonna guess that we can upgrade our saddle, like we're actually seeing him pull the shotgun out. So we're walking around. We actually have to kit ourselves out before we go into combat. It's not like a weapon. Oh, that's really neat. And I really like, again, the contextual strapping the animal carcass. It's not like the last one where we skin the animal and then it's just like a skinless body sitting around. And then the brushing of the horse. The different horse breeds have different jobs. Oh man, and that's how you build your relationship with your horse through brushing it and all that, not just riding the horse. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out over horse mechanics. This is just like in The Witcher 3, when I found out that Geralt's beard grew in real time. I lost my mind. I loved it.
Over time, the bond between you and your horse will grow, making them easier to control in tense situations.
Yeah, he's a great horse.
Neat.
Aside from when the devil's got him.
A rich and varied ecosystem thrives in the world, full of predators, prey, and
I already know what I'm going to name my horse. It's the same thing I named my horse in Zelda Breath of the Wild. Buttons.
Scavengers. All smart and sometimes deadly.
You want to come with me? I'll show you how we hunt one.
Hunting helps the camp or earns you money. Wound an animal and you'll have to track them down. Animal parts and other items you find can be traded for cash to use at general stores, gunsmiths, saloons, and elsewhere.
This is God's own country, and I feel I'm in purgatory.
This is a world that is rich in depth and detail. All designed to be explored on horseback or on foot.
It's the animation of the horse there. Amazing.
On the run across America. In the next gameplay video, we'll look at missions, activities, enemy gangs.
Oh my god, we can fish.
Other things to do, and much more, including the evolution of sharpshooting using the Deadeye system.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Oh my god, I can't wait. Not just for the game, but for the next gameplay video, because we got, I mean, the horse animation there. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so glad I saved that for last, because that's a hell of a way to end this video. Guy, I'm super pumped. October 26th, no way in hell we aren't playing this on the channel. I mean, hell, I think right now God of War is my game of the year. Right now. I think Spider-Man has a chance to knock it off, but I don't think it's going to, just because I think it would be really hard for a superhero game to do it. But I mean, if done right, I think Spider-Man could maybe knock off God of War. But I think the biggest contender God of War has for the game of the year right now, for everything that I have seen, is this right here. Because if they deliver on everything that we're seeing here, in which I also have to say this, look, Rockstar, from everything that I've ever played of Rockstar and seen from Rockstar, they are not a company that will say, "Well, we're doing this," and then when you get it in real life, you're like, "Oh, well, okay, yeah, the wildlife act's realistic, but it's still based on certain things or whatever." But when Rockstar promises something, they promise a mechanic, it's what they say it is. It's not like well, this is what we're shooting for, and then it's kind of like what they're saying, but not really. With Rockstar, when they promise something, it's what you get, and I am so pumped up for this. I'm curious to see how the multiplayer aspects are going to tie into it. I'm still hoping that I can turn that stuff off, and which I have a very strong feeling, because I mean that's kind of what Rockstar does. That I can ignore the multiplayer aspect entirely and just focus entirely like playing by myself. That's just how I am. I mean, if anybody out there wants to do multiplayer stuff with me, I'll show it on the channel and join me. Perfectly fine. But I mean, for me, I'm a big single player and story guy, and I've been excited for this game. I just saw that video. And now I'm just like, I am chomping at the bit. I want this so badly. Oh my god. This is choking on my own spit out of my excitement. Alright guys, well that's all I got for you this week. Holy hell, that was a lot of fun, a lot of gameplay. Thanks for watching. As always, all the social media, that is Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com. Links, all that stuff can be found down in the description below. As always, please remember to like, comment. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. All links to, like I said, every video and article are in the description. Please go check those out. Help these sites and everything grow. Help me grow by hitting that subscribe button and commenting, interacting with the video. That stuff really helps. Other than that, you can always send me recommendations on any of the social media or in the comments of games to play, old games, new games, whatever you'd like to see. Tell me, and if I can do it, it's basically the only question is money, buying the games. If I can do it, I'll do it and show you the games, give my opinions. If you have stories from throughout the week that you want to make sure are covered on the show on Saturday, send me links to articles, send me links to videos to cover. All that stuff, that's all a great help to me. And, yeah, like I said, that's about all I got for you this week. And until next time, my name's AJ Gels, the Untitled Gaming Channel. I'm out.